David's journey towards success started with a deep belief in the power of hard work and perseverance. From a young age, he had been taught by his parents that nothing worth having comes easy. His mother, a nurse who worked long shifts, and his father, who worked as a mechanic, were living examples of how consistent effort and determination were essential for overcoming life's obstacles. They were far from wealthy, but they had a strong work ethic and always emphasized the value of earning one's success through effort and grit. David internalized this message and believed that with enough dedication, he could achieve his dreams. After graduating from college, David was eager to put his education and ideas into action. He was driven by the notion that if he worked hard enough, he could overcome any challenge and achieve success. He decided to start his own business, a tech startup that he believed would transform how people interacted with technology. David had the knowledge and the ambition to succeed, but he also knew that success wouldn't come overnight. It would require long hours, discipline, and most importantly, perseverance. In the early days of his business, David spent countless hours working on his idea. He spent his days developing the product, researching the market, and trying to learn everything he could about the business world. Nights were often spent coding, writing proposals, or brainstorming strategies. Despite the mounting pressure and the fact that his savings were dwindling, David kept pushing forward, convinced that every extra hour of effort would eventually pay off. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, the reality of starting a business hit hard. David faced a series of setbacks. The product didn't work as expected, funding was difficult to secure, and the market response was lukewarm at best. The tech industry, which he thought would welcome his innovation with open arms, seemed indifferent. He felt frustrated and disheartened, yet he refused to give up. He remembered the lessons from his parents, who had always worked tirelessly despite the challenges they faced. He knew that nothing worth achieving would come easily. As the months wore on, David's determination was tested time and again. He encountered financial difficulties that forced him to make tough decisions like borrowing money from friends and family, which placed an emotional burden on him. But each time a setback occurred, David used it as an opportunity to learn. He faced failure not as a defeat, but as a stepping stone. He researched more, adjusted his strategy, and pushed forward. The mistakes he made became invaluable lessons that guided his future decisions. Each failure taught him resilience and honed his problem-solving skills. One of the most difficult tests of his perseverance came when he had to make the decision to pivot his business model. After months of working on a product that no one seemed interested in, David was forced to accept that his initial idea wasn't viable. It was a crushing realization. However, he didn't let it derail him. Instead, he embraced the challenge and decided to pivot, putting in even more hours to adjust his plan. This decision wasn't easy, and it felt like starting over, but David knew that his hard work was the key to eventually finding the right path. His perseverance didn't just involve working hard, it meant maintaining a positive outlook even when it felt like everything was going wrong. There were moments when David was tempted to give up and abandon his dreams, but he pushed through those moments by focusing on the bigger picture. He reminded himself of why he started the business in the first place, his desire to make a difference not just for himself but for others. Through these months of struggle and effort, David learned that success didn't come without a cost. It wasn't just about working hard, it was about maintaining a mindset of persistence, even when things didn't seem to be going his way. Perseverance meant showing up every day, even on the days when failure felt inevitable. It meant not allowing setbacks to define his journey, but seeing them as part of the process. In the end, David's hard work and perseverance paid off. Slowly, his business began to pick up traction. He attracted a loyal customer base, and investors started taking interest in his company. But more importantly, David had gained something even more valuable, the confidence that he could face whatever challenges came his way and continue to move forward. David's story is a testament to the idea that hard work and perseverance are essential to achieving success. While talent and resources can help, it is the ability to keep going when things get tough and to learn from every setback that ultimately leads to success. David's unwavering belief in hard work and his refusal to give up, even when the odds were stacked against him, laid the foundation for his eventual triumph. This expanded version illustrates how David's unwavering commitment to hard work and perseverance, despite constant challenges, was the driving force behind his eventual success. It emphasizes the importance of persistence, resilience, and the lessons learned from setbacks. Certainly, here's an expanded version of the point, the illusion of easy success. The illusion of easy success, when David first embarked on his entrepreneurial journey, he was fueled by excitement and the belief that success would come quickly. He had been inspired by stories of self-made billionaires and tech moguls who seemed to have risen from nothing to achieve incredible wealth and fame. In his mind, success looked like a straight path, where the right idea, a bit of hustle, and some perseverance would quickly lead to a flourishing business. The headlines he read and the success stories he admired painted a picture of rapid growth, instant recognition, and seemingly effortless triumph. David, like many aspiring entrepreneurs, fell victim to the illusion of easy success. He imagined that with a great idea, he could quickly attract investors, customers, and accolades. The first few months of his startup were filled with boundless optimism. He believed that once he launched his product, the market would eagerly embrace it, and he would be on his way to building an empire. His early excitement led him to overlook one crucial fact. Success in business is rarely immediate, and the journey to success is often far more complicated than the media portrays. In the beginning, David didn't anticipate the enormous amount of behind-the-scenes work required to bring his vision to life. He expected that once his product was ready, customers would instantly recognize its value. He believed that the moment he had a finished product, people would flock to it and the business would take off. However, the reality was far different. The first launch of his product was met with very little interest. The customers he had hoped to attract were not as enthusiastic as he had imagined. Instead of immediate sales, David found himself struggling to get noticed in a highly competitive market. At first, David chalked it up to normal startup growing pains. After all, every entrepreneur faced obstacles, right? He believed that with just a bit more effort, more marketing, or tweaking the product, things would turn around. However, the longer he worked, the more he realized that his initial perception of success had been flawed. The market wasn't an eager audience waiting to throw money at him. It was full of competitors, each with their own challenges and strategies. There was no instant success. It required constant effort, adaptation, and learning from failure. The illusion of easy success also led David to underestimate the emotional and personal toll that starting a business would take. In the beginning, he believed that hard work would automatically result in success. He thought that if he worked long hours, his business would grow faster. But he soon discovered that success didn't come simply because he was working hard. It required strategy, patience, and a willingness to make tough decisions. The endless cycle of refining, iterating, and managing finances was far more taxing than he had ever imagined. What seemed like an easy route to financial freedom turned into an exhausting marathon that tested his resolve and resilience. Another aspect of the illusion of easy success was the belief that financial rewards would come quickly. David, like many young entrepreneurs, dreamed of becoming wealthy through his business. He believed that once his product gained traction, the money would follow. However, he found himself in a constant battle with cash flow. Many entrepreneurs face the harsh reality that even with a promising idea, it takes time to generate enough revenue to sustain the business. Investors might express interest, but securing funding was not guaranteed. David had to learn the hard way that success wasn't about making money immediately. It was about having a long-term vision and the patience to wait for the rewards to manifest. Over time, David began to realize how misleading the stories of overnight success were. The tech moguls and entrepreneurs he had admired had their own struggles, failures, and moments of doubt before reaching the heights of their success. They had worked tirelessly behind the scenes, made countless mistakes, and faced obstacles that weren't always part of the glamorous story the media presented. David now understood that the path to success was far more complicated than he had imagined. The easy success he had hoped for didn't exist. Instead, what he had to cultivate was the resilience to keep going despite the setbacks, the willingness to learn from his mistakes, and the understanding that true success was built over time. David's story highlighted an important lesson. Success in business is not easy or instantaneous. The stories of entrepreneurs who seem to have succeeded overnight often omit the years of hard work, failures, and sacrifices that were made before achieving their dreams. The real journey to success is a process of trial and error, of working through challenges, and of constantly adapting to new circumstances. David learned that while the dream of easy success might be enticing, it's perseverance, hard work, and an acceptance of the challenges along the way that ultimately lead to lasting achievement. By acknowledging the illusion of easy success, David was able to reset his expectations and approach his business with a more grounded, realistic mindset. Rather than seeking shortcuts, he focused on building a solid foundation. Understanding that success wasn't something to be rushed. It was a long-term pursuit that required persistence, patience, and a willingness to keep learning from every mistake. This expanded version explores how David's initial belief in easy success led him to misjudge the complexities of entrepreneurship. It emphasizes the gap between the glamorous success stories portrayed in the media and the hard reality that success often requires years of hard work, setbacks, and perseverance. It also highlights the emotional and financial toll that many entrepreneurs face before they see their dreams come to fruition. Certainly. Here's an expanded version of the point facing challenges facing. Facing challenges, as David's entrepreneurial journey progressed, the initial excitement and optimism began to fade, replaced by the harsh reality of the many challenges he would have to confront. When he first started his business, he believed that success would simply be a matter of hard work and a great idea, but he quickly learned that challenges were inevitable, and they came in many forms: technical, financial, emotional, and strategic. The idea of overnight success that he had once clung to seemed more distant with every obstacle he encountered. One of the first major challenges David faced was, as an aspiring entrepreneur in the tech world, he had high hopes for his product. He believed that the technology would be revolutionary, something that could change the way people interacted with devices. But after months of development, the product simply didn't work as expected. There were constant glitches, bugs that were difficult to fix, and features that didn't deliver the user experience he had envisioned. Each setback in the development process felt like a personal failure, and he often found himself questioning whether he had the right skills to make his vision a reality. David quickly realized that in the world of technology, perfection doesn't come easily. Technical problems were not uncommon, and every product had its own set of challenges. But as the problems mounted, David began to feel overwhelmed. The weight of these technical challenges threatened to derail his entire business, and with no clear solution in sight, he found himself in a state of frustration. The longer he worked on the technical issues, the more he felt the pressure not just to fix the problems, but to meet deadlines and deliver a product that would attract customers. In addition to technical difficulties, David soon found himself facing significant financial challenges. He had poured his savings into the business, and the funds were quickly running out. In his naivety, he had underestimated the amount of capital required to grow a startup. His projections for customer acquisition and revenue generation had been overly optimistic, and he didn't anticipate the steep costs of marketing, operations, and maintaining a team. As a result, he was constantly worried about cash flow. He needed money to keep his business afloat, but securing investment or loans was far more difficult than he had imagined. The financial strain was emotionally taxing as well. David had borrowed money from friends and family to fund his dream. Every time he spoke with them, he felt a sense of guilt, knowing that he was asking them to believe in something that wasn't yet paying off. This added a layer of pressure to his already high-stress situation. If the business failed, it wasn't just his future that was on the line, it was the trust and financial well-being of those closest to him. These financial challenges created an emotional roller coaster where moments of optimism were quickly replaced by anxiety about the future of his company. Another challenge David faced was attracting customers. While he had poured his heart and soul into creating what he believed was a groundbreaking product, he found that getting people to care about it was no easy task. The tech market was highly competitive, and there were already established players with strong customer bases. David's startup was just one of many vying for attention. His early attempts at marketing fell flat, and despite his best efforts, he wasn't able to generate the level of interest he had hoped for. As sales remained low and customer engagement remained weak, David grew frustrated and questioned whether his product truly had the potential to succeed in the market. This led to another major challenge: the need to rethink his approach. David had to confront the fact that his initial product might not be what the market needed. He had to adapt quickly, pivoting his business strategy and considering new ideas for how to position his product. This was no easy decision, as he had already invested so much time and effort into the original concept. It felt like starting over, and the fear of failure weighed heavily on him. But David knew that staying stagnant wasn't an option. He had to evolve, adapt, and learn from his mistakes. Despite the relentless challenges, perhaps the hardest hurdle David faced was internal: his own doubt and self-criticism. Every time a setback occurred, he asked himself, am I cut out for this? Should I just give up? The fear of failure loomed large, and there were nights when he thought about walking away from his dream entirely. He compared himself to other successful entrepreneurs who seemed to have it all figured out and wondered why his journey was so much harder. There were moments of exhaustion, physically, mentally, and emotionally, where the weight of the challenges felt unbearable. And yet, it was in these very challenges that David learned the most. He realized that the road to success wasn't meant to be easy, and failure wasn't the end. It was part of the process. Each challenge, whether technical, financial, or personal, became an opportunity for growth. He learned how to troubleshoot problems, manage finances more effectively, and find creative solutions to customer acquisition. He also learned how to deal with the emotional strain of running a business, recognizing the importance of resilience and self. The more challenges David faced, the more he grew as an entrepreneur. He came to understand that no matter how difficult things seemed, success was rarely the product of perfection, but rather the result of persistence. and problem solving in the face of adversity. Every challenge taught him valuable lessons about himself, his business, and the world of entrepreneurship. And with every obstacle overcome, David grew more confident in his ability to navigate the complexities of his entrepreneurial journey. David's experience with challenges ultimately shaped his success. He understood that challenges would always be a part of the process. There was no avoiding them. But rather than seeing them as barriers, he began to view them as opportunities to improve, adapt, and ultimately come out stronger on the other side. His ability to face these challenges head on and keep moving forward was what separated him from many other aspiring entrepreneurs who gave up when things got tough. This expanded version delves deeper into the specific challenges David faced in his business: technical issues, financial struggles, customer acquisition difficulties, and personal doubt. It highlights how each challenge, while daunting, played a key role in his growth as an entrepreneur and in shaping his eventual success. The point emphasizes that overcoming challenges is essential to achieving long-term success, and that persistence, adaptability, and learning from mistakes are key to moving forward in the face of adversity. Certainly. Here's an expanded version of the point: sacrifice of personal life. Sacrifice of personal life. When David first launched his business, he was eager, driven, and fully committed to making his dreams a reality. He poured all his energy into the company, believing that every moment of hard work was a step closer to success. But as the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, David began to realize that in order to achieve his goals, something had to give, and that something was his personal life. At the beginning, David thought he could manage it all. He believed that with a solid work ethic, he could strike the perfect balance between his business and his relationships. However, the reality of entrepreneurship soon became clear. Running a startup required relentless attention, long hours, and a deep level of focus that often left little room for anything else. David's work days were long and often stretched into late nights. He spent countless hours refining his business plan, meeting with potential investors, troubleshooting technical issues, and ensuring that everything in his business ran smoothly. The pressure to succeed was immense. David was always thinking about his company, even when he wasn't physically working on it. His mind was constantly preoccupied with strategies, numbers, and the next step, which left little space for anything else. At first, he tried to maintain a semblance of balance. He would make plans to meet friends, attend family gatherings, or spend time with his partner. But as his business demands grew, so did the frequency of canceled plans and missed events. Over time, David started to withdraw from his social circle. His friends, who had once been a regular part of his life, began to notice his absence. Invitations to dinner parties, celebrations, and outings became less frequent, and David found himself saying no more often, always citing work as the reason. His relationships with his family also began to suffer. David's parents, who had always been supportive of his dreams, started to express concern. They missed spending time with him and noticed that he was always distracted or exhausted. His sister, who lived nearby, had tried to arrange family dinners and weekend get-togethers, but David's work took precedence. Even when he did show up to these gatherings, his mind was often elsewhere, caught up in thoughts of his business. He wasn't truly present in the moment. His family began to feel the strain of his absence, and the emotional disconnect started to grow. Perhaps the most significant personal sacrifice was with his partner, Emily. When they first started dating, their relationship had been full of excitement and joy. They would spend weekends exploring the city, going on hikes, and enjoying quiet dinners together. But as David's business grew, Emily noticed a shift. David became increasingly distant, physically and emotionally. He would come home late, exhausted from work, and his mind would often wander back to his business. Conversations with Emily became strained as she tried to understand why he was no longer the partner she had once known. The long hours David put into his business left them with little quality time, and the intimacy and connection they once shared began to fade. Emily, who had been supportive at first, began to question the future of their relationship. She loved David, but couldn't shake the feeling that his startup had taken priority over everything else, including her. David's growing isolation took a toll on his mental and emotional well-being. The sacrifice of his personal life wasn't just about missing social events or neglecting relationships. It was the deeper feeling of loneliness that accompanied it. He realized that despite all the hours he was putting into his business, he was losing touch with the people who mattered most. The balance he had once strived for was nowhere to be found, and the price of his single-minded focus on success was becoming evident in the form of personal emptiness. As the months passed, David started to feel a deep sense of regret. While his business began to gain some traction, he realized that the success he had worked so hard for came at the expense of his happiness and the people he cared about. His relationships had deteriorated, and he found himself at a crossroads. Was achieving his business goals worth the personal sacrifices he had made? Could he truly claim success if he had lost his connection with the people who had supported him from the beginning? It was during a difficult conversation with his mother that the cost of his sacrifices truly hit home. She asked him, "David, do you remember why you wanted to be successful in the first place? It wasn't just for the business, was it? You wanted a better life. For you, for Emily, for your family. But you can't build a life of success if you've left everything else behind." Her words made David pause and reflect deeply on his journey. He had become so consumed by the idea of achieving professional success that he had neglected the personal aspects of his life that gave him true joy and fulfillment. Realizing the damage he had done, David made the difficult decision to reassess his priorities. He understood that while his business was important, it could not come at the cost of his relationships or his well-being. He began to take small but deliberate steps to reconnect with those he had lost touch with. He started scheduling time for family dinners, making sure to take weekends off to spend with Emily, and actively reaching out to friends. Although it was challenging to find balance again, David made a conscious effort to create a life that was not defined solely by his work. He started taking care of himself physically and emotionally, understanding that success meant more than just business achievements. It meant living a fulfilling and well-rounded life. Over time, David learned that success is not just about achieving professional goals. It's about maintaining the relationships and personal well-being that make life meaningful. He discovered that true success isn't measured by how much money you make or how many hours you put into your work, but by how you balance all aspects of life and nurture the things that matter most. His business continued to grow, but it was now under a new philosophy, one that recognized the importance of relationships, self-care, and time for personal fulfillment. David's journey was a reminder that the sacrifice of personal life in the pursuit of success is often temporary and can leave lasting consequences. Finding a balance between work and personal life is essential for long-term happiness and fulfillment, and success that neglects one's personal life can ultimately feel empty. This expanded version of sacrifice of personal life illustrates how David's intense focus on his business caused him to neglect his personal relationships and well-being. It emphasizes the emotional and relational costs of sacrifice and highlights the ultimate realization that success without balance is not true success. Through reflection, David learns to prioritize both his business and the meaningful relationships in his life, ultimately creating a more fulfilling path to success. Conclusion: David's journey is a powerful reminder that success in business and in life rarely comes easily or quickly. The road to achievement is filled with setbacks, challenges, sacrifices, and slow progress. Yet each of these hurdles serves as a stepping stone, shaping resilience, determination, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. Through his struggles with hard work, personal sacrifices, facing challenges, and dealing with slow growth, David learned that success is not just about achieving your goals, it's about the person you become along the way. The early days of his business were filled with frustration as he grappled with the illusion of easy success. But the reality of entrepreneurship is a journey of constant evolution and self-improvement. It requires patience, perseverance, and an ability to embrace failure as part of the process. The price of success, whether it be long hours, personal sacrifices, or facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles, is part of the larger picture that, when viewed from the right perspective, reveals the true value of the accomplishment. David's story teaches us that the cost of success is not always measured in money or time. It is also measured in the personal growth, relationships, and inner strength gained through perseverance. Success is built one step at a time, and while the journey may be long, each challenge, setback, and small victory along the way adds depth and meaning to the ultimate achievement. In the end, David didn't just build a successful business. He built a deeper understanding of himself, his values, and what he truly wanted from life. He found that success is not an end destination, but a continuous process, a process that requires patience, resilience, and a willingness to adapt. And most importantly, he realized that true success is not just about what you achieve, but about how you grow along the way. David's journey serves as an inspiration to anyone on the path to success. Success is earned, not given, and it comes with its challenges and sacrifices. But if you stay committed, embrace the hard work, and never lose sight of the bigger picture, you can navigate the cost and emerge stronger on the other side.